All right. Good evening and good night, and welcome to the It's Your Perspective Talk Show. It is Wednesday, April 27th, 2016. My name is David, a.k.a. Kimber, a.k.a. Christian, alongside
Bingy Soup.
Yeah, Soup, we back at it?
Yes, I
just want to say again that this is the It's Your Perspective Talk Show every Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, weekly 8 p.m. until. We do have a telephone number tonight, 340-2019-005. You can also text us on that number as well. But most importantly, you have to go to our website, streaming live from the vi.com. Go to that website and you'll be able to see the show tonight. Just click on a tab that says Watch Us Live. If you're too shy to call or text, hit us up with at our email address, streaming live from the vi@yahoo.com. For our guest tonight, we are in a high-tech, low-tech studio, coming to you from an undisclosed location here in St. Croix, Virgin Islands. No radio or TV, internet only. Get your Android, your iOS, your tablet, your iPad, your Mac or your Windows computer. Open up your browser, type in streaming live from the vi.com. You'll be able to see the show tonight, as we do have a guest in the studio. All our recorded live shows are on YouTube and Ustream.tv. Search for our channel, It's Your Perspective Talk Show. 2 Facebook pages. If you want to give a super duper shout out to CHS Class of 1982, if you're out there, hit us up. Let us know how you're doing. But most importantly, to all our past guests, 300 guests plus Soup.
Yes, I.
Thanks for coming on our show and being a part of what we're doing here.
Blazing the trail.
That's how it goes, man. Hit us up on Twitter. VI Perspective is how you tweet with us. We're moving straight forward and up. The show's mission is just to inform, entertain, and empower everyone. And I'd like to give a super shout out to our sponsors, Magdalene's Party Decoration and Supersonic Computer Services. Check our website for the contact information for both of our sponsors. I want to thank those guys for believing in us and coming along for the ride, you know?
Yes, sir.
Soup, you ready?
Rastafari.
Blaze that mic, man.
Greetings to one and all. All praises be to this Kid Mawi Empire Selassie the first. Jah Rastafari. This is utterance from His Majesty concerning Christian unity and brotherhood. Man's egoistic motives and his selfish desires to pursue exclusively his own individual interests, thus failing in his God-given task of following the goal of unity of all, is witnesses to the feebleness. The witness of the feebleness of his human nature and constitute the major obstacles to the unity of all Christians towards which we strive. How long will we, who are disciples of Jah, Jesus Christus, who are taught by the same Holy Bible, continue to remain divided among ourselves? Realizing that the time has come for the Church of Christ, divided for many centuries up until now, to come together in unity and work together. It is imperative for all of us to strive together in accordance with the words of the Apostle Ephesians chapter 4 verse 5 and 6, to clear the way and open it up for the realization of unity. Each church and all churches have the obligation derived from their covenant with Jah to proclaim the gospel, to make disciples of all nations, and thus to make the faith grow and bear fruit. Jah Rastafari lives and reigns.
Yes, sir. Soup, thanks for blessing us again, man. Soup's
Yes,
for blessing
sir.
us from 2014 April. Moving forward here, just a little over 2 years, we've been blazing the trail, you know?
Yes, sir.
But as we blaze on here, Soup, we do have a guest in the house. Nysut, Hotep. There he is. He's back again.
Live and direct.
Live and direct in the studio, man. Thanks for coming out again. How you feeling tonight, my brother?
Tayo, Rahubet. Yes, sir. Greetings, family.
Greetings to you as well, man. So you're back. Let me just jump to this thing here real quick. And so as we start here, we're gonna. I think first we should just let everybody know that you're doing this giveaway, so we can get our viewers in tuned.
Yeah, we're going to be doing a giveaway of a T-shirt. It's a T-shirt from the ancient Egyptian order.
Okay.
And we have them available at our location here at 89 Castle Coakley, Christian Stead, right across from Sunny Owls. It's next to Thomas Bakery.
Okay.
And this is an example, as I cover myself out there on the T-shirt.
Right.
That the first caller, after we get into our discussion, will be able to receive that. If the caller is here in the island, they can come pick up their shirt on Saturday at 2 o'clock at the location. If not, we'll mail it out to them
Yes,
via
okay.
US. PS.
Okay. The number to call is 340-201-9005. I guess Hotep will give us the cue when to start calling in, but that's the number that you have to call in on. The ring right here, and I guess the first caller will win a T-shirt. Win a T-shirt. So as you come in again, what do you want to share with us this time?
Well, once again, I just want to give you all, much props and thanks for the opportunity to inform the people of the Virgin Islands of what we're doing at the Egyptian Church of Quraysh Ashuk Youth and Prison Outreach Ministry. We want to go over a little bit of some of the activities we've done, some of why we do what we do, and if there's any questions that the listening audience or public may have, they can call in at the 340-201-9005 number, and we'll do our best to address those questions. But you can go ahead and roll the PowerPoint, and we'll get started.
Okay, here we go. Okay, there we go.
Music. You have to click all the way through. Partner Shad. Can't see. Anuki Jawif, Pa Ashuk Empire Forward. I am in the divine love of the all expanding. Wu Kalal Ash'ak Kawun Jawifni, and all love is in me. Anuki Kasam Un Afaf Pa Fa'ut. I am a part of the all expanding. Wu Pa Fa'ut Kawun Kasamun Afafni. And the all is a part of me. Anuki Wahu Ama Pa Fa'ut. I am one as the all. Wu Pa Fa'ut Kawun Wahu Amani. And the all is one as me. Nakuk Kadur Naju Amak Asamun in Pa Fa'ut. I can succeed as a part of the all expanding. Wu Khabub Amash Khas Un, and fail as an individual person. Nakuk Kadur Kawun Kalal Pafaf Nakuk Ragub Jawif Paf Out. I can be all that I wish in the all expanding. Ta'alama Raghabni Kawun Bakhay Jawif Paf Out. As long as my wish is to stay inside the all expanding. Anuki Yabad Bi Nafasni. I am never by myself. Pa Faud Kawun Anuki. The all is, I am. Pa Faud Adur Nakuk Kadur. The all can, I can. Pa Faud Faul Nakuk Faul. The Egyptian Church of Quraysh Ashuk Inc.'s mission is to compassionately provide a supportive environment to the Virgin Islands and surrounding areas where the focus is to uplift and empower all families of all community. And we will achieve this mission through cultural awareness and outreach by way of Ashuk, divine love, education, spirituality, visual and performing arts. The Egyptian Church of Quraysh Ashuk Inc.'s purpose is a youth and prison outreach ministry and Nuwapu cultural interaction hub, where all people can without reservation retain all rights of independence and autonomy, can participate in the development and implementation of rites, rituals and ceremonies specific to the origins of our Salafu ancestors. We address community issues by way of Ashuk, divine love, through education, spiritual counseling, and youth-centered activities. Why youth and prison ministry? In the Bible, Acts 2:27, it states, "And it shall come to pass in the last days, saith God, I will pour out my spirit upon all flesh, and your sons and your daughters shall prophesy, and your young men shall see visions, and your old men shall dream dreams." And this is one of the scriptures that was the inspiration for this ministry, being that we have so many young people that requires the type of assistance and guidance that we have. Why Youth and Prison Outreach Ministry? This is a poem, and we read this the last time I was here. It's by Khalil Gibran. He's from Lebanon. The poem is from a book of poem called The Prophet. And before we get into like talking a little bit more about what we do, we'll read this poem to you. I want you in your spare time to go on the internet or go to your local bookstore and look up this book and do yourself a service and read some of the poetry that's in it. It is said that if the masters were able to write, this would be an example of their writings. Your children are not your children. They are sons and daughters of life longing for itself. They come through you, but not from you. And though they are with you, yet they belong not to you. You may give them your love, but not your thought. For they have their own thoughts. You may house their bodies, but not their souls. For their souls dwell in the house of tomorrow, which you can never visit, not even in your dreams. You may strive to be like them, but seek not to make them like you. For life goes not backwards, nor tarries with yesterday. You are the bow from which your children as living arrows are sent forth. And the archer sees the mark upon the path of the infinite. And he bends you with his might, that his arrows may go swift and far. Let your bending in the archer's hand be for gladness. For even as he loves the arrow that flies, he also loves the bow that is stable. A part of the program that we have at Ashuk, the Youth and Prison Outreach Ministry, is a 9-dimensional program established by the Family Guide of the United Nation of Nuwapia. And in this Family Guide, there are 9 principles that we utilize in our interaction with the youth to establish some form of communication where we can set the tone for transformation, for change. So we'll read some of those programs, dimensional programs, so you can get an idea of what we're addressing. The first one, Agal Magaspun. Agal Majaspun. Sound mind. Nazuf Ba'a. Clean soul. Kahin Ka. A Holy Spirit. Hafish wa alay. Clear conscience. Karim Abad. An honest heart. Kharud Shakhas. A caring person. Karim Shakhas Alt. An honest personality. Mawid Mukwan. A loyal being. Nakhabli un khat'at jawif majus un mawqat. A healthy body in a sound environment. A sound mind, 1. 2. A clean soul, 3. A holy spirit, 4. A clear conscience, 5. A honest heart, 6. A caring person, 7. An honest personality, 8. A loyal being, 9. A healthy body in a sound environment. Back on. These are the 9 principles or the 9-dimensional program that we utilize when we're addressing the youth that we interact with. And with these 9 guiding principles, and with the guidance of our Salafunun, our ancestors, Patarak, the way, Ashuk, divine love, and the creative force who will establish opportunities of healing, health, our wealth, togetherness, and being of service to each other, our joy. Patarak, the way. These are some clips of some interactions that we've had here on the island and also in the States. So some of them are from the past and some of them are actually within the last few months at some of the area location. One of the things that we do over at Ashuk here at 89 Castle Coakley in Sunny Isles is on Saturdays we have a story time from 12 to 1, but this week is going to be from 1 to 2. And these are some of the books that we read. This one is entitled The Beautiful Enclosed Garden of Delight. And then we have another one. This one is the Story Time, My Children. It's a book of Sumerian stories. And for those who may want to know what Sumeria and the importance of kind of learning some of the stories that had in Sumer, when you go to your scriptures, it's specifically anywhere from like the beginning in Genesis to like Genesis 10 and 6, you will find that many of the places that they name are in Sumer. In fact, in the scriptures when it talks about the plains of Shinar, this is actually Sumer. Also, this is another one, The Adventures of the Spider-Man, which is a man. And these are ancient, again, Sumerian and Tamarian Egyptian stories. And when you hear them, you realize they're very similar to the Bonansi stories that we have here. This one here is My Name is Freedom, and this is by a local writer. Her name is Winifred Lovin Okoyo. And this is one that we have at the store. And another one we have here is My Grandma Loves to Play. And this is another one by Winifred Okoyo, Loving. So on the weekends, on Saturday, if you're not too busy, you could bring your children to 89 Castle Coakley in Sunny Isles. And it's right next to Thomas Bakery in the area where the Red Cross building is, right on that side street. And what we do is I also play the flute and teach the flute. So when they come through, your youth will be able to play some music and tell some stories. What I'm going to do right now is, if I can get this music queued up, we'll go ahead and play a little bit sample of some what you could expect to hear or your children could expect to hear. We find that one of the things that is a major issue in the education of youth is attention. And one of the things you have to do to pay attention is listen. You have to use your ears. And so music naturally activates that process. Why? Because you have to pay attention or listen to hear what's being played. So we have a song that is by a local artist. And what we're going to do is play a little bit along with her to set the tone for this evening's message and why at the Egyptian Church of Ashuk Youth and Prison Outreach Ministry, why it's so important that the young people realize where their strength comes from and how strong they truly are. All right? So, without any further ado, if you could get that music rolling, we'll go ahead and play it. the tones, the frequency, and in music to get the attention of the young people and bring them into the room so that we could facilitate whatever communication that we find necessary to help to change the frequency and the vibration of how we interact with each other. We say ashuk because ashuk deals with divine love. When we go out into these schools, and you will see some of the clips that we will show of the interaction with the young people. Now, most people may not know, but I'm from St. Croix, born and raised. I went to the school system here. I went to Alexander Henderson School. I went to, in fact, the first graduating class of Evelyn M. Williams, the first 6th grade graduating class. I went to Stony Ground, went to Seventh-day Adventist School, and I graduated from Central High School. So I have a definite interest in seeing our young people excel on every level. And with my years of working in adolescent services as a youth coordinator of the Project Teach Reggie Lewis Peer Leadership Program in Boston, Massachusetts, as a supervisor at a mental health facility in Macon, Georgia, working with children who were in the Department of Juvenile Justice, working with young men who were sex offenders, every level of care associated with our youth I have worked. And so our program is designed specifically, as you saw the 9 principles, is designed specifically to address some of the important issues associated with how habits are formed and why our children operate the way they operate. If you can't address how habits are formed, then you can't change or impact any change with regards to these habits. So we established by music, some of the stories that are told, the general interaction with the youth. We established patterns for opening up communication. We show the importance of lahaj, language. We show the importance of etymology, the origin of words, and so that our young people step up from being believers to knowers. You see, in the English language, we are taught that seeing is believing, and indeed that's not the fact. You are watching this show right now, and you see me. You don't believe that I'm sitting here because you can see it. So seeing is not believing. But for years we go around saying these things as if they're fact, the actual fact, and they're not. And these things may seem simple. However, once you program a child's mind to simply ignore factual things, then you see the condition that we're in as a society. There's really no interest in reading. There's really no interest in learning because we're not teaching our children about themselves. We're teaching them about everybody else. Many of you listening right now, and don't forget about the first caller getting that free t-shirt, but many of you listening right now, remember there was a time where Christopher Columbus discovered America. This was true, when we were growing up, right? And then we started traveling and we realized, hold up, wait. I went to Minneapolis and ran into some Sioux Indians. I started talking to them, Native Americans, right? And learn a little bit more about the history of what they're calling America. And then, being that I'm Nagaru or Negroid, I seek out teachers who are from my Salal or race. And I found a teacher, Dr. Ivan Van Sertiman. He wrote a book called They Came Before Columbus, where he established in these books that there were people, Nubians, called Almak or Al-Malik, for those who are from the Arabic persuasion, meaning the ruler, where you get Malik, Malik, all of these, Molech. These are these beings that were considered rulers. And so they look just like us. And everywhere where you go on this planet, where you find human beings, you will find the original genetic stock is Negroid or Nagaru. Yet, when we teach our children, we seem to avoid addressing these facts. Now, we wonder why our children look at us with this degree of hypocrisy and have no real interest in the sciences, have no real interest in mathematics. Not all children, but many. Now, if these children were to know that algebra, geb, ra, algebra, that's tying you into ancient Egypt. And it's actually, a three-part word that's dealing with al or el, because in the Semitic languages the vowels are interchangeable. So this is a deity. This is why you have Dani, El, Mika, El, and so forth. All right? Letting you know that the lineage of teachings that they came from are from the Elohim. And then you have Geb, Ra'el or Gibrael. You notice that in the Semitic language the intonation is three parts when you're using these root verbs. And so when we start to teach our children that there's a connection with them that ties to them and the making of who they are, then they could go deeper, and we could get into the making of who you are, the genetics. We could go into the periodic charts, the elements, and start teaching them about these things and showing them the connections to themselves, as opposed to showing them how they're being shown now, whereas you need to learn this so you can get a job. I was at the store, the location, earlier this week, and two young ladies came in and they saw the books in the window. And, I inquired, I asked, what are you guys doing with your life? And they said, well, I was going to college, but I dropped out. I was like, why? They said, well, this is what they said. There's really no need to go to college because when you go, there's no jobs here anyway. And I was like, wow. So our young people, two at least, have decided that there's really no need for furthering their education because when they finish, there's no jobs. And when I listened to that, I realized that we are, continually teaching our young people to be educated to find jobs as opposed to being educated to create jobs. And so at Ashuk, Youth and Prison Outreach Ministry, what we do is we address the inner core essence of the children that we serve. Many times, adults, teachers, administrators do not deal with the young people as divine beings. Scripture says, suffer the little children to come unto me. Once a man, twice a child. And it goes on, as we read earlier in Acts 2:7, that in the last days your sons and daughters will have visions. They will prophesy, and the old men will dream dreams. I was looking at an article last week where there was an incident where some politicians pretty much made a mockery of, how we in the Virgin Islands resolve issues. And as I looked at that and listened, I wondered, how can we truly talk to our young people with regards to, appropriate ways of communicating, appropriate ways of handling, disagreements when the adults can't even get it together. You see, so, this message out here, this shadow, and the song that was played by Desiree Stronger is to hopefully reach the adults out there who are watching, so that they would recognize that we have some serious work to do. And one of the first steps is embracing Ashuk, divine love, and recognizing that these young children are Kahin Mukwan, divine beings. And if we don't start addressing them as divine beings, we will truly get an understanding of what it means when it says they are principalities in high and low places. So, without belaboring the issue, we come before you as a family and say, hey, listen, we need your support. We want to be in every school, talking to every youth. And we want the adults and administrators to be a part of that conversation. When I worked in the States and we went into, these different youth programs, understand this, they sent us into these youth programs to change them around. And the first step that I made was I met with the adults, find out what some of the issues were, what are some of the things that they wanted to resolve, and then we would design a program specific to addressing those. And over the years we found that the 9 principles established by the Family Guide of the United Nations Nuwapia, these 9 principles were valuable. I mean, which one of us would not benefit from having a sound mind? Which one of us would not benefit from having a clean soul? Which one of us would not benefit from having a Holy Spirit, a Kahin Ka'a? Which one of us would not ultimately benefit from having a healthy body in a sound environment? Which one of us? Would we be having the type of conflicts that we have, the type of murders and crime that we have if we were dealing with sound minds? Would we have those type of situations if we were dealing with people who had clean souls? Would we have those situations if we were dealing with people who had a Holy Spirit? You answer those questions and ask yourself, why aren't we having dialogue to address the environment that fosters and support those type of energies? So we introduce you to Nu'apu and to the Lahaj Nu'apuyi. This is why you hear the word Ashuk, which means divine love. It's in your ancient language. One of the biggest problem we have is communication, because we're using a Lahaj, a language that's not ours. There's too many words that sound alike that have different meanings. You see? And what we don't really address is the fact that words are combination of letters, and letters are sounds. They're notes, they're frequencies, and they're vibration, and they're linked to beings on a certain frequency and a certain vibration. And so we utilize these tones to call upon our Salafu, our ancestors, and we wonder why we don't get the aid the way we really need to have it. And we don't get it because we're not calling on the tones and frequencies that's aligned with our Mukwan, our being, or our Kahin Mukwan, which is our divine being. So we're open at Egyptian Church of Christ, Ashuk, daily at 89 Castle Coakley from 10 to 5. On Thursdays we close, and on Sundays we close. And Thursdays we do some work in the community. I'm going out to some schools that allow us to come in, and the children really enjoy the workshop. It's uplifting. So on those days, for right now, we're not open. But on the other days, we're open, and you can come in anytime. You know, the Brother Soup, you know, he comes through from time to time and bless the place with his wisdom. And we find that it's becoming a little gathering spot for people of like minds who want to deal with really addressing the issues associated with our children. Not my children alone, but our children. There's an African principle, and we're African people. And the African principle says it takes a village to do what? Raise a child. And we have gotten away from the village concept. I use the word concept loosely, but you understand what we mean. We have gotten away from that. We have gotten into this state where, you know, we hide, and we don't want anyone to address the errors of our children. It never used to be like that. If you went down the street and you were doing something out of line, out of order, not dealing with ma'at, then an adult would step to you and be like, no, tighten up. But now we live in a situation with some adults, because of their inconsistencies, parents can't trust them to step to their child and say, tighten up, because boundaries are crossed. And this happened, and it will continue to happen until we realize truly what's going on around us and stop doing like these ostriches that stick their head down in the sand or in the hole and think that the issues that we are facing is going to go away. Nobody's going to come to save us. So stop looking up in the sky, you know, and all that stuff. Nobody's coming to save us. We got to do it. The helping hand that we're looking for is at the end of our hands, our arms. We have to change the situation that's going on. We have to go out in the streets and reach our young men. You know, we have to go into the homes and address the young women. We have to do that. There's many times I drive through our island and I see brothers like they have a job holding down the corner. Every day the same spot. And a few blocks down, there's children that could benefit from some of those brothers passing on a little wisdom to them. Not all of them will listen at first, but when it becomes habitual, when this thing becomes something that we do naturally, and children will naturally gravitate towards it. Children are pure when they first introduced to this, and we teach them everything that they need to know to be successful or be failures. And we have to take responsibility for what we have taught our children or what we did not teach them. So I see that nobody wants to win this t-shirt this evening. Nobody calling in.
Go through the details again one more time. Just let everybody know that, you know.
The t-shirt that we have here is a, I don't want to say throwback, but it's a throwback t-shirt from the ancient Egyptian order. There are not many of these. They came up probably about 10, 12, 15 years ago, and not too many people kept them around, but I had a couple stashed. And so these are rare items. So if you call in at 340-201-9005 with a question, we'll go ahead and make sure that you can get that t-shirt. All right. You guys have any questions?
Us?
Yeah.
No, you're thorough, man. You're real thorough. You're explaining it clear, you know.
Yeah. So let's, we're coming up on the hour. And so what we're going to do is I'm just going to go back over, if the brother will go back and on the slide, we'll go back over the 9 principles. All right. 1, agal majaskun, a sound mind. Now, when dealing with a sound mind, the first thing you hear is sound, and sound is music, it's frequency, and it lets you know that the human being, the human body, is actually an instrument. In fact, your voice, as we know, can be used as an instrument. And when you deal with every level of salal or race on this planet, you will see that the Nubian, Nagaru, or Negroid has a connection with sound and music unlike anyone. This is not taken away from anyone. This is actual facts. And we're not here to address any other family but our own. We got to start with ourselves first. A clean soul. In the scriptures, we are taught that the breath of life was breathed into man, and man became a living soul. But we never are taught the qualities and values of what does that really mean. What does it mean to be a living soul? And can souls be dead? I mean, if you got something alive, that's a whole nother subject, but a living soul. So cleanliness is next to what? Godliness. Right? So a clean soul is something that we really need to get a clear understanding of. Because when you ask people about soul, you can tell because of the English language, there is a lack of knowledge with regards to soul or spirit. The next one, 3, a Holy Spirit, or kahin, ka'ah, a clear conscience, khafish, wala, karin, ab, an honest heart. Now look at these principles: a sound mind, a clean soul, a Holy Spirit, a clear conscience. And ask yourself, with some of the things that happen in our communities, with some of the things that happen in our families, if we were dealing with a sound mind, would they happen? In most cases, the answer would be no. If we were dealing with a clean soul, would they happen? The answer would be no. Holy Spirit, the answer would be no. A clear conscience, it would be no. An honest heart, it would be no. A caring person, if we were dealing with each other as caring people, caring persons, we wouldn't have the conflicts that we have. 7, an honest personality. Honesty is the best policy. If we had people in all walks of life dealing with honesty, we wouldn't have some of the issues that we have, and our children would be reared in a society that they wouldn't even consider dishonesty, manipulation, and the sorts. And it would be easy for them to move into 8, which is a loyal being. Because it's easy to be loyal to something that's honest. It's easy to be loyal to something that's caring. It's easy to be loyal to something that is clear. It's easy to be loyal to a Holy Spirit, a clean soul, a sound mind. And we know, because of the degree of illness in our community, mental, physical, otherwise, that a healthy body in a sound environment is absolutely necessary. And we can achieve all these things. We can achieve all these things. We have a workshop that I do with the youth. It's called the Egyptian Way of Overcoming Bad Habits. And in that workshop, one of the things we establish is that habits are not all bad. You know, I mean, there's some good habits too. In fact, you are a combination of habits. This is why they say you can't teach an old dog new tricks, because most of the old dogs have been doing those things habitually for so long, they're stuck. And so you'll find that some elders, when you try to talk to them about new things, because they've been programmed for so long thinking that way, they don't want to hear it. And they shut down. And then what do the youth do? The youth shut down also. And there's a saying, you can tell the health of a community by observing the relationship between the elders and the youth. If the elders and the youth are interacting on a level that's hospitable, dealing with a sound mind, a clean soul, a Holy Spirit, a clear conscience, an honest heart, a caring person, an honest personality, a loyal being, a healthy body in a sound environment, then you will find that their interaction with the youth will be on a level where it's harmony. But harmonious relationships are first started by a harmonious relationship with ourselves. And we have too many people in our society who hold these scriptures and these other annals or books to be the word of the Most High when it comes time to judgment on the youth, but when it comes time to observing it for themselves, do as I say, not as I do. And our children see the hypocrisy, and this is why we have so much degree of disrespect, because we allow it. We allow our children to disrespect another adult, thinking that that's not a habit that's being formed. Remember, the Egyptian way to breaking bad habits establishes that habits are not all bad. So once we realize that you can initiate some good habits to better your circumstance and situation, then we can start to use them to our advantage. Because those individuals that utilize us as a means of currency to sustain their societies, they are specific with regards to psychological programming and training of their future consumers. And we need to get out of that line and start to be producers.
Hotep, how do we get the adults to change their behavior, their mind pattern, their thinking? Because that's where everything will stem from. Because as you hit upon it every time, if the adults' mind ain't changed, the youth ain't gonna change. Because you have to start from us first to go back to them. So how do we begin to start to deal with us first and then to go back to deal with the youths?
That's a very good question, and you know, it seems like the approach would be to address the adults first, but we are adults right now, and we realize that those children will be adults also. And so we could put our resources in straightening the adults out, or we could put our resources in addressing the youth that's going to be adults, you see? And what happens is, in my experience, when you start to impact youth on a certain level and you invite their parents to see what they're doing, the parents are usually shocked at the ability that their children have, because they didn't know, because their parents are at work, they're at church, they don't spend time with their children.
Right.
You see? And so when we create situations, activities, events, fundraisers to showcase the talent of our youth, and then the parents get to see, what happens is the same thing that happens in any boardroom that you're looking for some type of vehicle to support. You realize that, man, these children have a potential, they have a future, and I'm going to invest in this. And that's what parents will start to do when they start to see that, man, my child is more talented than I thought. You know, why didn't I see this? You know, but you also have those parents that are still young at heart, young at mind, and haven't dealt with their own trauma.
Right.
You see? And so the community, as we start to do things together, we'll be able to heal those parents by being examples of how, like me and you and me and mine and our children, how I interact with my own, how I interact with the ones that I, adopt as my own, because they're all my children.
Yes.
They're all our children.
Yes.
So yeah, it's a task that can be daunting at times, to think that you have to come up against some very stiff-necked fools, according to Bob Marley and Exodus, stiff-necked people, who are basically, listen, they're a product of habits. And once we start to realize that this is what we're dealing with, then we can start to, not look at it as a problem, but look at solutions that we can implement to change or to transmute that which is undesirable into that which is worthy. And that's the mark of a true master. This comes from like the wisdom of Tahuti, one of the scrolls written by the master teacher Pana Babiano, who is my personal guide. And I would be remiss if I did not mention that the reason why I'm here, the reason why I'm doing what I'm doing, is because of what I was taught by him, and what I was shown. And I see it to be a value for not just myself, but for my community. And so this is why we're here. We're not, a lot of times, people see me with the wanor, or the crown. They see the ankh, or this is an ankh tree, and I get questions like, "Are you Muslim?" Or some people say "Salaam alaikum," and I say "Wa alaikum salam." I know a little Islam, a little bit. It's not our culture, but we know it because we lived it. These are beings that we had to go through these different schools to learn what our brothers were involved in, so that we can reach them. So that's a very good question. But as you can see, it's called Egyptian Church of Quraysh, Ashuk Divine Love Youth and Prison Outreach Ministry. We're going to go into the prisons too. And hopefully we get to the point where we can go into the prison with the youth. You see, I used to watch the Scared Straight thing. And Scared Straight stuff don't work. It really don't. If you ever work in a prison, or you work in that type of environment, you realize it's like a kind of show, man. They let the people know, hey, we got some kids coming in, you all dress up in these, boom, we're going, it don't go down like that, because prisoners are too unpredictable. You know what I mean? You know what I'm saying? You may have one of them who, okay, yeah, you want me to help you out now, but earlier when I was trying to get this and you was acting, okay, all right, cool, camera's gonna be here too, watch. And it's going down. But we have to realize that there's a saying, and it can be found in the Mind Book, which is a book that every prisoner, every student should read, and the Potential Book, both authored by Malachi Z. York. In the Mind Book, there's a saying, it is easier for a criminal without discretion to become a deity than a nervous and overcautious person. And this is why the prison ministry is so important, because in the prison is gods and goddesses who were not given proper guidance. And so the strength and conviction they had to make a decision to do whatever it is they had to do is actually a good thing. I'm not saying what they did was good. I'm saying the strength and conviction is good, because they showed that, you know what? Regardless of what people think, I made up my mind to do something. It wasn't the right thing to do, but I made up my mind. As opposed to somebody going along, not being able to make up their mind and having other people make their mind up for them. You see? And this is what we find ourselves in. We find ourselves in a situation where, there are those beings that require governance, and there are those who can govern themselves. But we're not being brought up to the degree of education, information, and intellect, so that we can have the intelligence, the intelligence to govern ourselves and govern our community, to be world players in an international level as a community, not just as government, but as a community, man. We have international involvement. Remember, some of you who listen are old enough to have stories from your grandparents who used to travel back and forth to these islands. They were fishermen, and they had basically commerce throughout the islands. They did it themselves, and something changed that and took away that freedom for us to travel and to interact and to make a livelihood for ourselves. And our children are suffering because now most of us have to spend so much time working and earning so little in exchange for that time that we don't even have the time to spend with our youth. All right, and we have to change that.
As you said, it come back down to we creating our own work, we creating our own jobs, we creating our own livelihood for ourselves. That's
Cool.
bottom line to the whole thing, because it takes away from our time, our energy, our purpose. It puts us on a whole different plane that we ain't supposed to be dealing with. But again, we in the system, so you know what I mean. We got to provide a roof over our head and food on the table. So
Yeah.
at the time we just go along to get along. But I have a point come now that you have to say enough is enough and say, you know what, I got to take a step forward to better me and my community. So again, until awakening happens, Hotep.
Not much is going to happen.
Let me, I know we're up against the time to close it down. And this time it flies so fast when you seem that you're doing important things. And let me say this, we are here because of the Nadaru, nature. We are a product of nature. The sun is very important to us. And you'll find that when humanity gets to a point where we are way out of line, we're not dealing with the laws of Ma'at or order,
Right.
you'll find nature always steps in. And there are those of us who are old enough here to remember Hugo, hurricane, that is. There are those of us who are old enough to remember hurricane like Frederick, David and those type of Emile and all of those type of hurricanes. But the thing about those hurricanes here is if you go back in your memory, you will realize that a lot of the conversation and conflicts that we're having now, we don't ever have them when there's a national or natural disaster. People don't have time to be worrying about if you're from Down Island or if you're from Up Island, if you're here straight, if you got locks, if you smoke weed, if you drink. We don't have time for that. We come together to do what it is we have to do to get the job done, to help each other. You see? And it's unfortunate because when you look through the history of this planet, and this is the thing that we're not taught. We're not taught the history of the planet. We're only taught the history of colonialization of the planet. There's a time that it wasn't colonialization. The word colonialization is from the lahaj of the Mukasu or the Europeans.
Mm-hmm.
But there's a times where before that we had interactions were much more hospitable. And so we have to go back as a people to our way, because the conflicts that we're having has been forced upon us through rape, colonialism, misinformation and education, and it's being perpetuated in the systems that these institutions have left for us to continue governing ourselves. And we just gotta be real.
Yep. They need to be destroyed, bottom line. They cannot continue the way it is if we as a race of people want to go forward, and that's just the bottom line to it. We cannot continue in this system as it is.
No, we can't.
It has to be destroyed.
It can't.
It has to come again.
In order for you to build anything, what you forcing you have to do?
You got to bury it, you got to destroy it, you got to knock it down, demolition, whatever. You got to bury the seed,
Okay.
You got to bury the seed first before that
In
plant
order for
comes.
us to listen, if we got conflict and we want to resolve it, then we got sometimes you're gonna have to, have
Yes,
some harsh words and
yes,
go through some
some
stuff
stuff,
and
yep.
get it out, and then
Then go forward.
go forward.
Yes.
And so what has happened to us, man, is adults, you are going to have to admit that you were lied to. We were lied to, and we didn't know.
Yep.
But now, most of you streaming in right now, you are on the information highway, the internet. It's like a brain,
Yes, sir.
It's patterned after the brain, actually.
That's what it is.
And they can actually watch what we are watching, watch what we are clicking on, watch what we are purchasing, and they have what they call, they call them algorithms that they can decipher based upon how many people at a certain time going to this website. They have so much mathematical formulas to figure out how to get your money out your pocket. How to increase the currency, the current. See it?
That
Yeah.
flow.
That flows.
Yes.
And here's the thing. I'll show you something real simple. It's all over the internet. You look it up. Sound, frequency, words, vibration, current, and C. All right? Where do they store money? If you wanted to open an account to store your money, where would you take it?
In the bank.
To a bank. And the seashores have banks to control the current of the seas. So it's a lot of wordplay and stuff that's going on that we don't really understand, because even like some adults that I talk to, if I say overstand, they got a problem with it.
Yeah, because they get caught up in semantics. And then, and then again, they wasn't properly educated.
And oftentimes, why? Because the first time they were introduced to this thing, overstand, from a Rasta man,
me and you, it was me and
or somebody who who's somebody who freckles a little too close.
And that's
So we gotta really understand that we have an inbred hate for ourselves, and it's not us that hate us. It's the genes in us, the rape in us, the indoctrination in us. And it's in our children. We pass it on, And so we got to reach back and go into and spend some time with our children and start to inform and educate them on a whole nother level.
Yeah, man.
We got to stop playing games.
Yeah, it's bottom line, man. And it's so funny that you saying it, because now it's like more and more every day. For me, it ain't no more. No, it's just like it's my life, it's my reality. Is my sustenance, is me to maintain myself. If I don't, because it's I say, wow, I live in a lie, and I can't live a lie. I ain't a lie. I am truth. You understand me? So he divine me. He sanctified me through his word, and his word is truth. John 17:17. You understand me? So the truth stands, and the truth is. So we have to just be more bold, and don't have to worry about what the repercussion is going to be, because we know
be fearless, man. Martin Luther King.
We have to know that what we say is what we say, and what we mean is what we mean, and we're going to do what we say and what we mean.
We have to
stand up behind
fearless.
You understand?
We have to be fearless. Martin Luther King.
And I think the time is right now, brethren. I think the time is right. It can't be no other time but now.
The Honorable, Marcus Messiah Garvey. What he said? He said, "Up,
you mighty
people." Why would he? From where he was standing, it's obvious by the statement that we must have been, in his perception, down. You see? And
the blueprints are there, man.
Everything we are right here in 2016, and we still can say, "Up, you mighty people," because we don't realize the greatness of who we are. We don't realize who Hotep is, dealing with medicine, So any doctor, you talk about Hippocratic oath, and who they ascribe or subscribe these type of things to, but they will let you know they go into the halls of Egypt, or what is called Egypt, Tamarei, Africa, and they find these great teachings about all the sciences. Our ancestors had already mastered those things and stepped away from it, because they realized, man, okay, you keep on going on that road, you're going to lead to your destruction. And there was a younger group of beings on this planet, Adam. And you look in the scriptures and find out who Adam really is. You realize it had nothing to do with us. Check the, not just the words of men written on paper, check the stones. You know? Check the archaeological sites. When I went to the States initially, I went to Boston. Well, actually Minneapolis, then Boston. But when I went to Boston, I went to the Museum of Fine Arts. Look it up. The Museum of Fine Arts in Boston is one of the largest. It has one of the largest Egyptian exhibits in the world, next to Cairo and England and London. They have it. They have stuff downstairs that you never seen. And I used to go there and stay hours in that place. Just don't know why. I was just in the room, reading the stuff on the wall. Didn't realize some of the stuff I could actually read it, And so it was a awakening for me. And I realized that a lot of what we were taught was lied. However, who am I? I'm just this young dude who grew up in Williams-Lite. I don't have any accolades to my name. No, nothing in front, nothing behind. You know how it is if you don't have a certain last name, nobody really listens to you. And we have to cut that out. We have to realize with our eyes, the real eyes, the divine qualities in who we're speaking to. But you can never realize the divine qualities in who you're speaking to if you're not in touch with your own divine or your Kahin Mukwan, the divine being. You see? And this is why it's so important that we start to elevate the consciousness and awareness of our youth so that they can start breeding into our children, the future generation, a certain mindset. We have bred that out. Okay? They have proven that as a person think in their mind, so they become. And they have also proven that psychological issues, conditions can be transferred genetically. Physical issues, situation can be transferred genetically. If you break your arm, like I did, and my son, daughter, will have a greater chance for that area of their genes to be weak. The same way we can, if I were emotionally scarred, I can pass that scar on to my children. And all they would require is something to activate it, to turn it on, just like cancer or some of the other destructive cells are activated and turned on by conditions that we create by the type of lifestyle that we live. So we can go on and on with this to the break of dawn, as they say. However, a better opportunity for us to go in depth would be for you to come over to 89 Castle Coakley and ask the questions that you may not have felt comfortable enough to call in and ask. And I assure you, we're going to deal with it with sound right reasoning. We're not going to ask you to believe anything that we have to say, because we're not here to convert anybody. We know the Most High does the conversion. All we do is give the information, and you will take it and do your own research. And we say, as Pana Babianun has taught us, don't believe him, don't believe us. Check it out, look it up, because this is not my soul when it comes to you, it's yours. And when you get deeper into it, you realize that we're all one soul, many spirits. All right? The spirit can be corrupted. The mind can be corrupted. The body can be corrupted, but the soul is incorruptible. And we are soul people. And we have to get back into the science and teaching of our soul, activating that aspect of us. We know how to activate the spirit. We already got that. You see, and this is why we have so much issues right now, because we're activating some spirits that, like that guy Legion in the Bible, when Yeshua or Jesus came up to him and asked him his name, he says, my name is what? Legion. He said, we are many. It comes to find out when Yeshua or Isa or Jesus casted out the spirits out of this man, he had 2,000 spirits in him. No, we hear that story and we just bypass it like, hey, you got people walking around day in and day out. Some of them are teachers, some of them are police officers, some of them are judges, some of them are lawyers, with multiple spirits. And you never know which one you're going to get. And so now we put ourselves before other human beings who have an ambient of delegated authority given to them by other human beings, and we put our life on the line and hope that they will deal with us justly. And what has happened? You've seen it. You've seen many situations. You look at you like, yo, how this person see this person guilty or innocent when the evidence, and you realize, it's a kangaroo court. They make up the rule as they go. And our children see that because they hear the conversation the adults are having in the room, in the car, while playing dominoes or whatever. And they form in their opinions based upon what they hear us talking about. The dissatisfaction we have with our other adults because of the injustices that's happening to humanity. The food and the poison that we're allowing to come into this island, and allowing our children to consume these things. And it's the sad thing about it is by the consumption of these things, it's changing the genome. The genes are being changed right under our nose. And then the frequencies emitted by these TVs, the subliminal messages that are all over the music and the cinemas, directed where? At our youth. And we're not protecting them. We think it's cute to have our little girls and our little boys pretend to be grown-ups when they lack the emotional maturity to deal with the consequences of those choices. And we gotta be more serious about that. And we gotta prepare them. So we thank you all for tuning in. And it's Your Perspective is on Tuesdays, Wednesdays, and Thursdays, 8 to 9. We appreciate you supporting, this grassroots effort to spread a certain message to the world about the valuable things that the people of the Virgin Islands are doing. We are great people here, great people, and we got great things in store. And each one of us have to reach one, and each one of us have to teach one.
Yep.
That's what I'm doing. I'm just one person with one idea, but I'm grateful for partner Babiano, who is our seated president, Malachi Kobina York Ozodok, my spiritual guide and my teacher, the one who would open my eyes to certain things on this planet. And what we do is just pass on a little bit of what we've learned in the hopes that, those beings that require awakening will awaken, and so that we can do what is necessary to effect change, not just here in the Virgin Islands, but on this planet. Because this is a global thing, it's a planetary thing. If this planet get blown up, all of us go with it. Okay? It ain't got like a little group that's going to, no, we all gonna catch it. If a tsunami hits this place, which looks like they're preparing for one to hit, all of us are going to catch it if you're below a certain line. So we gotta come together. We don't have to, let us not wait until a disaster, man. Let us not wait until somebody innocently die who has a bright future. How many of those stories we need? Let's not wait until a mother has to lose 2 of her children on the same day. Let's not wait for that, man. And as men, we sitting down here, we all men in the studio, but we don't know what that feels like, man. We don't know what that a mother,
Yep.
that umbilical cord, that ether connection that they have. We don't know what that's like, because we could get up and move on. And we got to change that. We got to change the way we value our mothers and our wives, our sisters. We got to do better, And that's the purpose of the mission that we have here, man, in St. Croix. We want to bring an awareness so that families could start to be families again. Children can start to do what children did back in the days, man, not trying to be little adults, you know? And we could start singing the way we used to sing. And we could start doing our own dances, you know? I'm talking our own dances that we create, not these hypersexual displays that we see going on. And trust me, our dances were hypersexual, but they were with meaning and intent. And it was more of a spiritual thing. So without going too much further, we want to say in closing that ritual is to the soul as food is to the body. And we have to get back into our rites and our rituals, those that are aligned with our salafu, our ancestors, not those that were given to us by people who sought to enslave us, strip us of our language, banned us from playing the duf, the drums, and made sure that we didn't have any connection to those who came before us. We have to change that for our children's sake before it's too late. Wadu. Tawhad mutakhayur yasar. Tune in next time to It's Your Perspective. Again, Tuesdays, Wednesdays, and Thursdays. Thank you.
Thank you, my brother. Brother Hotep, for coming in and blessing us with some good, strong knowledge, wisdom, positivity, man. We all need it to move forward in a positive light. Soup, any final words?
Yes, sir. Keep the fire blazing, Hotep. Rastafari lives, one perfect love.
Yeah, we like to say one perfect love is our prayers and his blessings. When you put it all together, you got one perfect love. We'll be back tomorrow. Got another show lined up. So on that note, we're out. Peace.
Peace.